right, we're good to go. And as you start your introduction to what this is, I'll go ahead and get it up on the screen.
So this is the North African wrapped clothing class, except that I wanted to call it more the international wrapped clothing class because years ago, I stumbled on the relationship between a bunch of things together. And it started with, of course, I grew up in Europe and my mother took me to all the museums. And so 40 years after my mother had passed away, I found a book in a old bookstore that had a bunch of drawings of costumes of Morocco done in the 20s, and they all looked like they had just stepped out of Roman sculpture, because it was all the same lines. Yes, the aesthetic was different. They had different kinds of jewelry and stuff, but the purpose of the jewelry was to hold a couple of pieces of cloth on your body. And I got very, very excited. And that's when I got into this. The next thing, the reason this class started was because someone out your way, a lovely lady, Mistress Elsa, did this contest online during the shutdown. And she said, okay, this is the non-sewn costuming contest. And I assumed there would be like 6,000 saris and maybe 5,000 kilts. So I went and did what I could to show the wrapping of this dress, which I knew was Tunisian. This particular way was Tunisian. And had come along, maybe it changed a bit, but it definitely was early period, and they still weren't sewing it. And the rules were, if you have to send a video, I guess because they were afraid they would get like 1,000 1-hour videos and they'd never get through them, they said it's got to be a 10-second video. And I'm like, no, I can't do it in 10 seconds. So eventually I had a friend who said, okay, we'll unwrap you instead of wrap you to show that it's one piece of cloth. So if you can blow up the screen share, this was my presentation, helped in enormously by Elsa, because Mistress Elsa, because I have no skills when it comes to a computer. So I sent her pictures and she mocked this up. And then my friend helped me show it unwrapping, which we could then speed up and looked like a cartoon. Can you roll the unwrapping or not?
I don't think it's not letting me, because I think this is just the screenshot of the page.
Oh, okay.
We can put this is just an image. You got to go find the video on YouTube.
Yep. So what we can do is either do that, or I'll post it in the group so everyone can see it later.
You can post it in the group so everyone can see it later. Okay. So, one of the things that I found for relating the two was in I think it was 1590, but I'm not sure. The Celio did a bunch of woodcuts. And if you could go back to that for a minute, though, because there's
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And there, in the lower left-hand corner, the lower right-hand corner has the title woodcut of that book. And the lower left-hand corner has, I don't know if this one was called a Moorish woman or a North African woman, but either way, she's not in a sewn garment. She's in a wrapped and pinned garment. Her hair is wrapped. I had one woman stand in my class and say, oh, well, but you don't have any of those like metal forms to put the hair up. And I was saying, no, honey, because if that's an African woman, chances are she does not need a metal cage to hold her hair up. If you will look, I will show you my hair wrap after this, and it sticks out because my hair sticks out. Then the next picture is, I'm not sure if that, I think she is Berber, but she's definitely from Morocco. And that is one of the things that I was wrapping when I was unwrapping, rather, in the video. And the aesthetic, as opposed to the dainty little pins that show up in Roman, are like these huge honking, almost door knocker pins. And then she has like heavy duty amber and silver hanging off of that. That's her dowry jewelry. That would be, if it made it through having to support her family in hard times, would be passed off to her daughter when she died. Only after wearing a wrap like that did I figure out why that's like that. That's a counterbalance, because they're not wearing bras to pin it to keep it in place. That's a counterbalance to make sure that it stays forward, and when you sit down, doesn't roll back and choke you. The next picture is a pair of pins that I cannot show you this evening, but you can see the scale. I have huge hands. My hand is approximately 8 inches long. And that pin is like a very, very fancy penannular or fibula. Fibula is the word that's commonly used these days. And it's got a loop on the end to be able to support the counterweights on it. So now we can go on to the other. And please, I am rattled this evening, so I may be skipping bits of information. If you have any questions, like if there's a hole in this someplace, please ask.
Definitely. Thanks for still putting this on after everything that's going on out in your real world. Like,
well,
that's dedication.
You know, I leave for Penzic in 6 days. And
Okay,
if I didn't do
good luck
this
with
now,
all of
this
that.
wasn't going to happen. Pardon me?
I said good luck with all of that. Damn.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of my my emergency kit, like my solar stuff, is not where it normally is. So okay. So we can go to the next. What was the next one? The next one is the pink one. Okay. I have divided these wraps into 3 categories. This one is 2 pieces of fabric, selvage to selvage, in my instance, because linen comes in 60 inches wide approximately, and because I am not a petite person, it is 2 pieces sewn together at the sides that are approximately, I think it's 5 inches taller than I am, floor to head. And at one end, it is slit all the way from the top to about 4 inches below my armpit. It's a very deep slit. On the other side, it is slit like 11 or 12 inches up from the floor, maybe as much as 10, because I'm like, I've got a very long leg. All right.
Yeah.
I'm folding over the front, which will make like a lap, like a skirt thing. And the back is folded over too, but not as much because up and over the shoulder is longer. This is going to produce, oh gosh, trying to see which one it is. This one produces just like the ubiquitous bog dress, which is wrapped and pinned and very simple. I've sewn the two, like I said, the two sides are sewn together of two pieces of fabric that are very, very long.
I'm not sure if it's gonna be the purpose of the.
All right.
Because I have forgotten. Which one this works in.
You might want to turn the sound down for this because the camera person was talking and that's going to confuse people.
Sorry.
Excuse
Got
me,
it.
pardon me.
I said,
Thank
so
you.
sorry, got it.
So now I'm going to flip it over and use the short slits, which means I'm now going to have a fairly long slit around my leg, but excuse the surgical stockings. And from the shoulder to the floor in the back is always longer. So I'm going to fold the front under a little bit to even it out. Although, because I wasn't looking in a mirror, I didn't catch that it was still caught up on the back. So excuse that. All right. Going to pin. You can, if you do not have pannulars or Roman pins, you can so use commercial kilt pins are fairly inexpensive. And until you get the exact piece you want for your particular persona, the kilt pins will definitely do. And they run maybe like 4 for $10 or something like that. Okay, I am now with this one going to do, I think this one becomes a peplus, becomes the Grecian one. Yes. All right, so I'm going to need 2 belts for this. One to secure it. And then I'm going to pull it up off the floor and lap it over. Many times when you see the Grecian statues and it looks like she's wearing a blouse and a skirt, no, what she's really wearing is it flopped over like this.
I'm sorry, how many yards is that?
That is proportionate to you.
Okay. And you said
That is selvage to selvage.
Mhm.
And if you're doing linen usually comes at 60-inch wide these days.
Okay. Right.
And then it is approximately 6 inches longer than your full height.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to give you my measurements because, like I said, I am 6 feet tall and weigh 300 pounds. The chances of other people's measurements not being overwhelmed by my measurements are like nil. Okay, so you have to do it in proportion to your body.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So now I'm wrapping this cord over, but you see it's how with the first belt and then it up and then the second belt that I get that overlap that looks like the blouse over. if any of you are into modern clothing history, in the 1940s, there was a fashion where they had like jackets and blouses and stuff, had that little sort of fake skirt thing. And that was called a peplum. That came from the word peplus, that is for Grecian garments that have that flap over. Okay, I think it started over again. Yes, it started over
did.
again. So, yeah.
Wanna move
So
on?
Back on
Next
the
one?
Greek outfit, actually, I wanted to ask, the crossed over cords over your chest, did you get any support from that, or was it mostly just to hold everything, the fabric down?
it is only to hold the fabric down.
Yeah.
My
what I thought.
bra size is not conducive
Sure,
to
sure.
going
Every little bit
to
helps.
going braless
sometimes,
and
yeah.
experimenting like that. I have seen people who've done it, but my bra size is not conducive to that. So I make it a point to wear underwear that holds me in a very natural, but off my belt. You wouldn't see my belt if I did it like that. So I make it a point to dye my underwear, something I learned to do when I was a theater major, dye my underwear to match me. Your flesh tone is probably not my flesh tone and would still look like just white underwear on me. So I either buy coffee bean color underwear, or Rit dye gets a lot of work out of me.
Rit dye is great, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we can move on to the next one.
Actually,
Yes.
Lee posted in the chat. I just had the chat up. And of course it just freaking disappeared because she might have found that original video.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna click on this. I don't know if it is, but look, oh, it's you. It's an hour and 43 minutes of you.
Yes.
Well, I have no.
You can definitely, leave that up also for people for
Yeah, I'll
afterward,
post it.
to find afterwards.
Sure.
And we actually have, the reason that one takes so long is, I think 3 different people actually experimented with wearing one of the garments in their homes, and we talked about it and how it could be made easier, and we're given corrections and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That'll make that a really good resource. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I've got the next one ready to go.
Oh, I wanted to say about wrapping the hair. Do you see how my hair sticks out in the back? Okay, I don't need a metal frame to hold it out there. So somebody was trying to poo-poo my documentation by saying nobody's found, he must have made that up because nobody's found any metal frames or basket frames to hold. No, honey, you were just born in the wrong neighborhood. Precious, I'm sorry, but my hair holds up veils all by itself. If I even put like a fillet over it, the fillet goes where my hair goes, not the other way around. So just so you know, yeah, you wrap your hair and you may have to stuff something in it a little bit to keep it from going flat if your hair doesn't have a mind of its own like mine does. Okay, next. Okay, this one. Oh, okay. This one is from the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. And it's a very tiny place. And it was the only place I found one that did it this way. which is, it's a much shorter piece of fabric. This is only like 1.5 times my wrist to wrist. So it's maybe it's maybe 108 inches, maybe my wrist to wrist. But this one, instead of going around and around and pinned and around, this one gets crisscrossed in the front. It doesn't get belted. And I found that the pins were not used in this, although I'm using pins because I had no time. I was trying to do this quickly. What they do is they tie little pebbles into knots right at where they want to connect it. And then they either have something that looks like a brace, a bangle, or something, or a piece of thread that gets tied around the two rocks to hold it together. I do not belt that because it is apparently not belted. And then you get a scissor action when you walk so it doesn't get in your way. I have since heard that, golly, I can't remember her SCA name. Mistress, I can't, Elfwin, Elf something. Her name is Jen Culler, has discovered documentation for a Roman one that was crisscrossed up the back, not up the front. And I still haven't seen that one to put that one in here. But we'll do that one more time. Now, again, were I in front of the mirror, I would be slightly more graceful about doing it. But this one I just found so interesting. And I think there's a picture after this. There was a still of the painting from the book.
Yep, would you like that?
Yes, please.
So we'll stop this one right here. It just takes me a minute to finagle my way
That's
through.
fine. That's fine. Come on. You are being so patient with my chaos.
I'm like, I know we don't know each other well, but most people here will tell you I'm a little bit of chaos. That's what makes it fun. There you go.
There. I don't know how old this is, but I have a hard time thinking that in 1920, they were sitting around the campfire going, hey, let's wear what they were wearing 1,000 years ago. as a local fashion. Yeah, I just can't see that. Okay, so let's, and this is the one from the Atlas Reason. And this particular one, while the others are still referred to as melias, this one is called an izar, which I found also interesting. I don't know if it's because they speak a different language in the Atlas. I don't know why, but this was the only one, and it's so different. I'm sure there's more to that etymology than that, but I don't know what it is. Okay, if you can slide forward, please, to the next one. Is this the, this is the striped one coming up next, right? Okay. Now, the reason I've used different fabrics to wrap them is because otherwise I wouldn't be able to tell one video from another at a glance. But the other reason is because a lot of these are traditionally in very like indigo dyed camel hair is very hard to see the differentiations in from a distance. So I've done it. This one I'm showing you that it is, I believe that is 5 yards, 5.5 yards. And it is something difficult. It has been difficult for me to find is large striped horizontal yardage. So I'm holding it up selvage to selvage. Now, in the past, I have gone ahead and found stuff that was the length of the fabric was striped, and I've literally cut it up and stitched it together so it would be the width of the fabric. But and the reason I'm doing it also is because the Tunisians are famous for their stripes, for their for the stripes that go railroaded across the fabric. And therefore, when you wrap it, it goes shoulder to floor, the wide stripes. Now, it's pretty simple, but you pin it to your shoulder, you go to the other shoulder, you go around the back, you pin that one to your shoulder, and then the other one. And then when the leftovers are actually poofed up in the back, almost like a bustle. And I have no idea when that showed up, but it is apparently a big deal. My Tunisian teacher, whose English was limited, used to say, you must have the popo. The Tunisian man, he no look, you know, have the popo. So apparently the floof on the back end is a big deal. So there I've pinned the shoulders and around, and the other shoulder and around. And oh, by the way, I get very tired doing this because I'm an old lady with a heart condition, and so I get winded easy. So you will see me sitting down in the middle of wrapping things. That's not optimal, but I have to do that. One more pin. And pins, always pin your pins vertical. Never pin them across. No, sorry, wait a minute. I got to look at mine. Vertical, horizontal work. Wait a minute. You pin your pins horizontal, not vertical. If you're doing the penandulars, you can kind of get away with it being vertical, but it has to overlap and you have to go through all the layers twice, or it will pull apart. And I can show you up close, I think, on mine afterwards. Let's see. And, you know, a little bit, it's like saris a little bit in that there's like over 100 different ways of wrapping a sari. And to the untrained eye, a lot of people aren't going to notice one versus another one. But they work differently. Okay, this one, I didn't have a proper belt for this one, but I'll explain that later. And of course, you can wear a chemise underneath or not. I'm sure in the beginning, there were very few chemises worn underneath or under gowns or tunicas or whatever you want to call them. And it's very funny, the etymology, I still haven't figured out where it actually came from, because the word chemise and then the Spanish word camisa and then the Arabic word camis, where did it come from originally? I don't know. Somebody started out and everybody else started playing with it. I don't know what it was. But it's an interesting question for those of you who are linguists. And write me when you know, please. Okay, this can go on. This can move forward to the next one.
Okay. Hang on just a minute and I'll get it. The next one is Tunisian.
Yes, is also Tunisian.
Okay.
It takes more fabric. It's not only Tunisian, but it's also very much closer to Amazigh and Tuareg, because they did that bustle that also can become sun protection too. So again, we start at the corner, folding it down a little bit so that it's not going to drag on your feet in the front. And this is again 60-inch wide fabric. I am exactly 60 inches shoulder to floor. So if you are very, very short, I mean, if you are like only 60 inches tall, you can probably get away with a sari length, because those are 45 inches wide. And you are probably, if you are 5 feet tall, you're probably something like 49 or 49 inches from shoulder to floor, proportionately usual. But there would be a lot of me hanging out with I'm 45 inches waist to floor, so that wouldn't work with me. Oh yeah, another thing with that was, in order to keep them different and separate, I borrowed some of this fabric from my camera lady. And I'd never worked with it before. So if you see me fooling around going, gosh, which end is up? It's because the fabric and I are strangers. Ta-da. It's much easier in a mirror.
Too bad we never have mirrors at events, right? Like full length ones.
Well, actually, that can be fixed if you go to a site that sells quote unquote Mylar mirrors or unbreakable mirrors, you can have one that will roll up. And then if you've got a center tent pole, you could put hooks on it to keep it pulled out, and you can have a full length mirror in your tent, which I have done when I used to have my own dance school, and I stumbled on this miraculous product called a Mylar mirror. And I had one for years. Okay, that is the tail end of it. To be able to get the bustle in the back, you pull it up so that it's not going to get caught when you sit down, and you tie your belts. And then, wait a minute. Is that one where I was getting tired? I think so. It's not going to stay there, but okay. Then I push it back so that then it becomes a very effective back of the neck sunshade / veil, because it covers you entirely to your waist. And now I'm replacing the kilt pins with my actual big Berber pins. And I have to remember what I'm doing because I'm watching this on my cell phone. So that picture of me is exactly 1.5 inches tall. Yep. That was so I could get my pins on. Normally, when I wear this particular item, I'm doing it out of very dark blue linen. And one of these days, I'm going to be able to afford dark blue sheer wool, because that's what the originals, I'm sure, are. The one thing that a bunch of nomads had was camel hair. They couldn't stick around and wait for linen to grow. So there are better pictures of this than this. One is of Baroness Jimena in a pale blue one. She looks like a goddess in it. And then when you're not using the sunshade, you tuck it under and into your belt, the corners, and then you get a bustle. This is especially handy if you're hanging over an open fire. It keeps the corners. And I just discovered within the last like 5 months, the fact that there is another piece of dowry jewelry I never knew of, and that is veil weights. These are literally beautiful little pieces of usually silver, but sometimes amber, that are tied to the ends, the 2 front corners that go over your head, to help keep it from blowing back, or to help keep it buttoned into your belt. If you go on like Etsy or eBay even, because of the giant earthquake in Morocco last year, there are a lot of women in Morocco selling off their dowry jewelry, because that's what it's supposed to do. Survive the family, help the family survive in hard times. And it's heartbreaking, but if you have that kind of a budget and you want to go there, there's some beautiful pieces. If you put in Amazigh jewelry or Berber jewelry or Tuareg jewelry, you should be able to find a bunch of things at prices that, so people for my birthday, people actually bought me a couple of pieces, and like this amber that's big enough to choke a horse and weighs several pounds. Boy, that dress is going nowhere. You might be able to find something that you find affordable that you want to invest in. Just saying, I mean, you might also want to create your own stuff. So I've been teaching this class for a while, and the first time I taught it at Atlantean University, it was in a campground, and this lovely woman comes and sits at the back and just watches. And at the end, when everybody else went away, she came up to me and she said, "Oh, my daughter is working for the Peace Corps in Morocco, and her next door neighbor wears exactly that." And I practically hyperventilated. I mean, I was like, "Yeah, really?" I said, "If you ever have any information on that, please send it to me, because I've been fighting this fight for years." So the next morning, as we're packing up, she comes running across the campground and goes, "Look at this, look at this." And she had called her daughter, who had gone straight over to the neighbors, and said, "Can I watch you get dressed this morning?" So can you play, I think it's 01A. Could you play that, please?
I was just pulling it up, and that's the
Thank
one of
you.
her getting dressed, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, I just queued it up.
All right. Now, it takes her a lot less time to do this than it does me. It's absolutely startling. And she's wearing it over modern, nice Muslim girl clothes, but she wears this every day. Apparently, red is also the color that's her signature color, because there's other videos of her and she's wearing other ones, but they're all red. If you can see the white stripe going across her knees, That is because the loom width on this is probably a little bit more than 2 feet. And so along the selvage, it has been connected to make it wide enough for her to go from shoulder to floor. And yeah, you can play that again because that's just like crazy. She does it so fast. Can you rewind it, hon? I can't hear you,
Oh,
darling.
sorry. I forgot I was muted.
there
I
you
said,
are.
do you want to do it again?
Yes, please.
You got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Why is it that everybody leaves me alone all day and then when I'm busy, they all want to talk to me?
It's just that way. Okay. The other thing, very, very Tunisian about this, I do not know where her family comes from, but there's got to be Tunisian in her traditions because although it's plain and it doesn't have the stripes, and she's not doing the extra little flap in the back, the way she puts her belt on is, to me, very significant. I don't know if any of you have studied Tunisian dance, but it is not, you see how she's wrapping that big scarf? Well, originally, that scarf would have been, I think, 12 feet of unprocessed yarn that would have been in a long, I mean, it would have been a hunk. It would have been like getting ready to dye it. And they would tie it off at about 18 inches from the end in a big knot on both sides, and then wrap it and have it so that the two knots hung directly after tying over the hip bone, right over the hip socket. And this is then conducive to traditional Tunisian dancing, especially women's dance, although the men also dance similarly. And if you could play the next video, please, the one where she's at the wedding. I can't hear you, sweetie.
Oh, I forgot I was muted. I said I was just watching it because I love it. Do you want sound on that one?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's a
That's-
party.
You're right. That's the fun
So-
one. All right.
So the woman's daughter, the American woman's daughter, got married. So she returned to Morocco for her daughter's wedding. And of course, her neighbor was at the wedding. And here she is dancing. You can imagine those movements with a huge, like, tapestry weight tassel over each hip, that this is the only way dancing and that tassel are going to work together, is not a side to side motion, but literally what has been described as the washing machine agitator motion. And then there's somebody else at that wedding who also has a red melia and is also dancing with her. But that's the lady that we saw dressing earlier. And she's got her fancy pins on it, which you could see, because I guess she only pulls them out for like special occasions. Okay. Oh my gosh, what the heck is that? I don't want to know.
Pimple popping.
Oh God. So, yes, exactly. That's why I'm saying Anglo-Saxon peplos, yes, they are all related. I am sure that this somehow all evolved through the Silk Road and the Spice Road and the fact that the nomads coming across North Africa from Egypt, where we know the Romans were handing out, all the way to Morocco on the Spice Road and back. Yeah, it's all related somehow. I don't know how, but we just have to look at it to know that it's all related. The next, I'm trying to think of what the next thing is in the
Let's see here. I
in the
almost think that was
lineup.
it because you were trying to stick. Oh no, I have you dancing.
Oh, yeah. So I was totally surprised by my elevation last fall. I had no idea it was coming. I've been in 35 years. I was not on the path, okay? I was busy arguing with everybody and making a total pain out of myself. And every time I did something, I'd go, well, there goes the peerage. But, and so anyway, they had all done all this stuff and they did an Amazigh related elevation for me. And this is my elevation dress, which is sheer wool. It's 6 yards of sheer wool. And then I actually got my pins. I don't think you could see them in this, but my pins are, instead of the triangles, are actually hamsas, our hands, which are also my symbol. And they had pelicans engraved on them. I mean, these people just, I lost my mind because these people had lost their mind. So we could show a little bit of my dancing. This was at 12th night in oh gosh, not the Kingdom of the West.
We wish.
Oh, thank you. And I don't have a proper belt either because it's traditionally undyed wool, which gets the knights very excited about my wearing a white belt, even though it's a hunk of yarn. So I can't be as accurate as I want to be because it means something else in the SCA. And yeah, that's I haven't really danced in maybe 6 years, ever since I started having heart surgeries, because it just knocks the stuffing out of me. So that went on for exactly as long as that video, and then I sat down and that was the end of it. But there you can see the dress in motion as well. I guess we have kind of reached the end of the quick and dirty one. If anybody would like to experiment with wrapping themselves, I would love to talk you through it. if that's what you want. Bueller, anybody?
Not this time, but somebody else should take you up on it.
Okay. I don't know if there is anybody else to
Oh,
take me up on it.
there's a lot of people here. Don't worry.
Oops. I don't even know if anybody's, prepared with fabric or stuff, but
But what we can do too is, I think you did a full length class and on tier, and that was recorded for the whole
Yeah.
down and dirty thing. I'll try
Yeah.
and I'll dig around and see if I can find it, and then I can post that too.
it
We
should
have
be
a
on,
volunteer in the chat, y'all.
Oh, it's already there.
yes.
Oh, Anna has a sheet.
Yes, there is a sheet. There are actually, there's two sheets. There's one with a cheat sheet with pictures about wrapping it. And then there's also should be a sheet with, where you could just go to a couple of the videos, a couple
No.
of the short videos.
I think Anna, are you trying to say that you have a sheet handy and that you want to wrap it up now? Is that what you're yes.
Oh, yay.
Can you scroll
That
over and
sheet.
find Anna? And they will wrap themselves up in a sheet.
Yay. Now, I will say that the sheet you'll only be able, you won't be able to get several of the wraps out of it because the sheet will not be like, 15 feet worth of uninterrupted, but you'll probably have 9 feet of uninterrupted, and that is enough to do certain of the wraps. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I definitely think that there would be enough for a peplum style one. Like if you drape it over one shoulder, does it touch the floor, both front and back?
Yes.
If so, then there's an amount that it could be hoisted up, and that would make your peplum, right? So
Yeah.
how much longer it is than your height is how much peplum you can have.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And I bet the one where it was crossed over the front would work too, because that just went around to the back and then attached to both of the shoulders. I think that was one of the early Greek ones you were talking about.
That
where there was a
actually,
variant where it fastened in the back.
I don't know the variant that's fastens in the back because I've never seen that one. I've just heard about it. I'm trying to get information from Jen Color about it, about Mistress Elf. I think it's Elfwin. I'm not sure. And she's been so busy, I haven't been able to get it from her, but I've written to her a couple of times saying, okay, I got this, what you got?
Anna, was there a particular outfit you wanted out of all of the wraps?
Well, I kind of jumped in a little late, so all I saw were the last tail ends of wrapping around herself, and then I saw the dancing video. So I just thought, hey, I have a sheet, might as well just go for it, and somebody walk me through it. That way we have a live demonstration, because those are always
Yay. Okay. What size sheet is it? Is it a single? Is it a double?
It's a king size, so there's a lot of sheet.
Oh my God. Okay. And how tall are you? How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Okay. You're going to be folding that sucker over fairly deep, which will definitely give you a pepless. Huh?
I can get a smaller sheet.
You can also do it with that. I mean, but if you're 5'5", yeah, it's a lot taller than you are. So
Mhm.
Yeah, so you could do a pepless, sure.
All right.
So,
And then I'm gonna need safety pins, right?
you're gonna need 2 really hefty pins,
Okay.
because, that's a lot of fabric.
To my little. Don't have safety pins, but I have a hedgehog with pins in it, so that'll work.
Well, the weight, unless those are like,
It's a thin summer sheet, so I'm pretty confident this will be just fine.
okay, all right, because we have to also address the weight of it pulling it apart.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this is what it is, folded in half. So I'm assuming we like hold it right here and then wrap the other end around.
yeah,
That
okay, usually you go ahead and you start at one end because you don't want to entirely open up the side.
mm-hmm.
So you will want to maybe pin it at one shoulder to start with. Just pin it, just drop everything now that it's sort of around you and pin it, let's say at your, is that your right shoulder where your hand is holding the open part?
Yes.
Okay, take the corner and pin it at your right shoulder.
So all the way at the end or somewhere in the middle?
All the way at the end.
All right. All the way at the end. All right.
Yes.
Pin going in.
And go ahead and pin it to your shirt to start with. Because
Okay. One pin
and you
to pin
want
it.
to do it across, not lengthwise, because just pin that corner, nothing else. Just pin that corner as a placeholder, not the back part, just the corner. See, you're already attaching it. Just the corner, the front corner, not the back part.
Just the front corner. Gotcha.
Just the front corner to your t-shirt.
All right, got it.
Okay. Now you're going to droop it a little bit across the front.
Okay.
And then catch the other. No, leave the back alone. Leave the back alone.
Okay.
No, you're pulling the back up over your shirt. You're just dealing with the front corner.
So this one.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Let go of the piece coming over your shoulder in the back. Nope. That's the back corner.
So drop the back corner.
Drop the back corner. There you go, sweetie.
Okay.
Just the front. Stages. We do not do it all at once. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now,
got that.
you find you go across to your left shoulder
Mm-hmm.
and let it droop a little bit in the middle. Yes. And pin that to your shoulder as well. You want a placeholder, but you want it so that it's not going to choke you.
Gotcha.
Okay. Can you pull that down a little bit to see how far it droops in the center? Okay, good. Yes. Now you're going to take your, go around underneath, yeah, under your arm and
Okay.
pull it up over your left shoulder. Over your left shoulder. Yes.
There we
And
go.
now you're going to overlap back over front and pin it to each other.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Not that tightly around your, no, no, no. Wait a minute. I didn't explain that. Not that tightly around your arm because you need some walking space. In fact, you could pleat it. If you want it to come close to your arm, you could. Let me see if I can show you. Oh,
So you do like some sort of like fleeting business right here, gather and bunch it, kind of like with the sari.
actually, no.
No?
You want to pleat it? Here, let me take my jewelry off of this pin and let me do it. Okay. So if you've got it here, all right,
Mm-hmm.
and before it comes over here, you're going to pleat it this way
On the front.
behind it. And that'll bring it in closer to your armpit so people aren't looking straight through. Yes, I have played this game, so you don't have to.
All right,
Thank you
we
for
got
your service.
Yes, I am a full service teacher. I've made these mistakes already. And then the back one comes up and over both, and you pin it. And you're going to be going through a lot of layers now because you've got that pleat you've got to immobilize with the pin as well.
yeah.
Make sense?
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Then, once you've got that, yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
I got like this cute little shoulder thing going on now.
Yes. Exactly.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna pin that
Up
on.
and over all of it. It's got to all be together.
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Bingo.
Bingo. Exactly. Now, across the back,
Okay.
and you don't want any give at all in the back. Because if you have give across the neck, it'll slide forward even more. So you want it to go straight across the back, and then
Like
you're going
this?
to, yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Then you want to, as a placeholder, pin it over your shoulder to your corner, your first corner. Yes. Uh-huh.
All right, we cooking.
Yes. Now, you're going to come underneath your arm and
Okay.
again, make a pleat so that you equal the room on the other side, right? Yes. And then unpin the over shoulder and put it there again.
Put it over the plate.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You are cooking with gas, my girl.
Sweet.
Woohoo!
Oh, this will make my Peplos outfit so much more comfortable because I was like wrestling with my other costumes so much.
Oh, Yeah, all you need are really secure pins.
All right.
All right, and then that piece can either come across again,
Okay.
and you can do it one more time here.
Think I'm liking the cross. So across we go.
Okay. Now, because it's a king size, you've got a lot more, and I don't know how to gauge it.
Well, I've gotten to the end of my rope.
All right, then you can also just fold it under.
Okay.
And then you can belt that puppy twice.
Sweet. Let me go find a belt real quick. Oh, no, you don't. Stay pinned. Here's another one.
Oh,
There we go. Where's another piece? Nope, that's not big enough. Oh my goodness. Here, this will have to do. Fabric from my scrap pile.
yeah. I got really lucky, and last Penzic, I found the leftovers from this souvenir place. Somebody was selling it. It had originally been a king size bedspread made up out of kente cloth, which
nice.
meant, yes, it was edge to edge sewn. What would you call it? Ankle weaving, more or less, but really, really wide, like this wide.
And I'm gonna put that right there, and I'm gonna back up.
Uh-huh.
Whee!
Yes. You
Cool.
know, having a piece that is more proportioned to you will be helpful, but
Okay.
in a pinch, yeah, man, you've got it.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are quite welcome. You are quite welcome. So anyway, my belt is now kind of signature, 9 feet of kente cloth, which is a little short on me because I've got like a 52-inch waist, but it'll do. And it's such a cool piece of fabric. I'm a fabricaholic. What can I say?
No, that was a great find.
Yeah, yeah. So does anybody else want to try? Yes, no? Yes, no?
The
Well,
irony is I'm preparing large swaths of fabric, but they're all going in and out of the washer and the dryer because I'm prepping to do some sewing this weekend.
well, if nobody has any more questions, I guess we're kind of at, we're kind of there. I meant to keep this to no more than an hour and a half, but
You're right on the money.
yeah,
It's 8:23, so 11:23 where you are.
okay, great. So if I can help anybody some more when I'm less chaotic and I have like my notes together, and I mean, I was going through the dark house trying to pull this together.
We have you. We got you. You did great.
So, yeah, so I'd love to help anybody. Is anybody coming to Penzic? No. Okay.
No.
I don't quite know yet.
Wrong side of the country.
I will
Can-
be at Penzic.
Well, if you'd like to drop in and,
I posted Elf's source on the twisty Celtic dress, and in the group chat there's a link to it, and I'm planning to come to your class, and I will try to remember to wear my twisty Hallstatt Austrian dress.
oh, that would be super. Thank you. Because I really, 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 I mean, this is showing up in the African track, but my mission is to show how these are all related, I mean, it has been a goal of mine for years. So it would really be lovely if you came with that dress.
Yeah, I can bring, I like my persona, my hot weather persona is like Celtic Germanic because the clothes are comfier, but I play more like Finnish Iron Age, and the
Yeah.
Finns wore the sort of standard rectangular peplos maybe 200 years longer than the Norse did.
Yeah.
100, 200.
Yeah.
So I mean, that particular dress really persisted a long time in that part of Northern Europe.
Yeah. And it's a 2-hour class in person. So if you came prepared to actually show how you do that, that would be like wonderful.
Sure.
I mean, that would be so exciting for me. Because I've been looking to hook up with this for years. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, now
can't
Elf
believe how-
definitely has the jewelry. I don't have all the jewelry that she has.
Yeah.
But because the twisty Iron Age dress has those like 12-inch long stick pins that, like the ancient Greek women were stabbing men with, and
Well,
they tried to
I
outlaw
love-
them at one point.
I love accessories that multitask. Okay.
Right, yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah, I'd love to show you how I do it, so yeah, it'd be fun.
Oh, that would be fabulous. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Well, I
Um,
call them, so Jen has a group on Facebook, it's called Ugly Skirts and Fugly Beads. And that's the early period group. There's also a Finnish Iron Age group. But I think you would enjoy the Ugly Skirts and Fugly Beads group.
I'm gonna go looking for it tonight.
Yeah, you should. And because I think there's a lot of overlap there, and it's a fun group. But they were very fond of what they call the big sexy rectangle,
Yes.
and just the versatility of that. So fun.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, yeah, so if anybody, I have no problems with you like knocking on my Facebook door and saying, hello, this is not working. Why didn't you tell me this? And I'll say, I was probably brain dead that day, but yeah, let me help you fix it. I'm more than welcome to just come knock on my door with any kind of questions. Okay.
Fabulous.
And I may say, I don't know why it works, but it works this way here.
What I'm gonna do though is stop the recording since you aren't
Uh-huh.
getting any more volunteers, but people can continue to chat.
Okay.